With Terminal Revenge's release and Infinite Forbidden right around the corner, there are a lot of good decks that are going to take the meta by storm. In this video, we're going to be going over certain tech choices that will help you beat the meta and take a lot of wins. Let's jump right in. What's up everybody, Ryco here. Today, we're going to be going over 5 specific tech choices going into this WCQ season, especially post Terminal Revenge and Infinite Forbidden, that will help out a lot when winning games. So, first off, the first card I wanted to talk about is a card that not many people are looking at, but with the release of Infernoid and Ritual Beasts getting their much needed support, this card is very, very powerful. And of course, that card is Artifact Lancia. Now, as many of you probably already know, Artifact Lancia is rather niche and not really too well into Snake Eye. However, with, again, the release of the Infernoid support and the Ritual Beast support, Artifact Lancia is starting to look like a lot better of a side deck now than ever before. Being able to just drop Lancia on either a Ritual Beast or Infernoid specifically, it's gonna get you a lot of wins. They essentially need to banish cards, and cutting them off from banishing cards will essentially stop their deck in the tracks. Now, there are other matchups that Artifact Lancia will help as well, such as Kashtira or Flundereeze. And although those decks are still being played, a lot of people are excited for the Ritual Beast support, and a lot of people are excited for that Infernoid support. If you're looking to take easy wins against them, try committing some side deck spots to Artifact Lancia. I promise you, it'll definitely come up and steal you a lot of wins versus those decks. Going into the next card I wanted to talk about, although it sees some play here and there, it's not as relevant as what it will be post Infinite Forbidden, and that's Droll and Lockbird. That's right, Droll and Lockbird will be an incredible card next format. There are so many decks that do so much searching, and with the release of the Fiendsmith engine coming out in Infinite Forbidden, Droll and Lockbird is definitely looking to be a good option. Whether or not you're main decking it or side decking it, you definitely want a playset of that card somewhere in your deck list. Again, it's not really gonna completely end a turn, but it will definitely minimize the end board and what they are able to accomplish. Plus, with the Fiendsmith's cards all searching themselves, if you get lucky, a well-timed Droll will absolutely take you a lot of wins. And what's so good about Droll is it's also good into other decks. For example, if you're looking at Ritual Beast, although they play Shifter, if they don't draw Shifter, kind of like Flu, Droll is good into that matchup, but if they draw Shifter, it's bad, but I still think it's worth it to side it. And honestly, Droll and Lockbird is good against just a wide array of Rogue. And with everyone feeling fatigued with Snake Eye right now, you're gonna have a lot of people trying out different decks, and with that comes a lot of decks that will be hit by Droll. Whether or not you're maining it or siding it, you're definitely gonna want Droll and Lockbird somewhere in your deck list. Moving on to the next card, we've got Forbidden Droplet. Now, although it's already seeing some play before Terminal Revenge and Infinite Forbidden, it's going to become very crucial to be able to have Droplet somewhere, either Droplet or Dark Ruler. So if you're playing something like Pearly, for example, it may be better to play Dark Ruler over Droplet, but being able to have something to neutralize big boards is going to be very, very crucial going into next format. And something that's really, really good that makes Droplet stand out above Dark Ruler is the fact that it's a quick play. So if your opponent, for example, is playing Snake Eye and makes Beatrice and tries to go for Beatrice in your draw phase, you can simply chain Droplet and negate the Beatrice, and that will be able to stop the Angel of Blue Tears play. Also, having Droplet to hit like the Infernoid board, for example, is very, very strong and nothing to scoff at. Overall, yes, hand traps are still going to be very, very relevant. However, having a bunch of hand traps and maybe Droplet too is going to be very, very powerful. And if you're playing a board breaker approach, try and prioritize Droplet over a lot of cards. It will come up quite often this format, and although Shifter is still around, it could be an easy side out for Shifter decks. But nonetheless, the decks that don't play Shifter definitely get hurt by Droplet in some way. Definitely consider it. Going on to the next card, the fourth card, I wanted to talk about Super Polymerization. That's right, Super Polymerization. That one card that was so broken, everyone thought it would never come back, and then it came back, and it was very good, but now it kind of fell off. And that's simply because the Snake Eye board doesn't really play into Super Poly. And other decks that do play into Super Poly, for example, like Voiceless Voice, it doesn't really hurt them as much because they can re-get a lot of their resources back. But going into this next format, especially with the release of Yubel and all the new fusion monster for Yubel, Super Poly is going to be very much needed. Being able to clear just big bodies and get your own body, especially if you can make a Mud Dragon to protect from targeting, that's going to be very strong and very powerful. well. And if you're playing a board breaker approach and you're going second, having something to just clear off 2 bodies to get your own body on field is going to be very powerful, and you're definitely going to want to consider it, especially versus the Yubel matchup. Although the fusion, I believe, can't be used as fusion material, they still will be ending on Unchained cards, plus maybe another Yubel monster. There's going to be other different dark monsters that you can hit with Super Poly. And if you're looking at the Fiendsmith deck, no matter what Fiendsmith cards are being used here, if you're going first and you have Super Poly set, you'll be able to stop a lot of their plays as well. Overall, Super Poly is looking to be really well positioned going into next format. If you have the space in the extra deck and either the main or the side, I would definitely recommend playing it. And then last but not least, the one card I really want to talk about that's particularly for going first is Mistaken Arrest. Similar to the same idea with Droll and Lockbird, there's going to be a lot of searching going on next format. And something that's so great about Mistaken Arrest is the fact that you don't have to wait for your opponent to do something. You can either shotgun it in the draw phase, or you can wait for your opponent to try to add something. For example, they attempt to activate Bonfire, and then you chain it. So that way they're down a card and they don't get to search anything. Against a lot of decks, Mistaken Arrest will be a very, very powerful tech choice that will steal you a lot of games. But do keep in mind, it lasts until the end of your next turn. So if you're a deck that does a lot of searching yourself, it may not be the best option. Mistaken Arrest is going to look very powerful, and something different than Droll is Mistaken Arrest can be used under Shifter. So versus a deck like Ritual Beast, if they drop Shifter on you, you still have a pretty solid option. It's the same thing with Flunderees. You want to stop them from searching. It helps minimize what they try to do as much as possible. Against some decks, it may not be a complete blowout, but versus other decks, it will just steal you the game on the spot. Kind of like flipping Macrocosmos versus a Tier Lament deck. Nonetheless, these are the 5 tech choices I really wanted to talk about in today's video. Did I miss out anything? Is there any other saucy tech that I'm missing that you all know of that everyone else should know about? Let me know in the comments below. Nonetheless, if you stuck around this long, thank you so much. You truly are awesome. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, peace.